Damn, Tony Khan, you should have kept your mouth shut. Because now I have to go back and actually dig up some homework, dig up some old history on this so-called rivalry, this fake-ass rivalry in your head that you think you have with the WWE. I had to really do my homework on this shit. Because you are very disrespectful. You keep on saying that AEW is what the... And you are a fucking liar. You keep on saying AEW is the first promotion since WCW to compete with the WWE. You keep on saying AEW is the second biggest company right now. You keep on saying it, keep on putting out this notion that AEW is like the first company to be compared with the WWE since 2001, which is a fucking lie. Bold-faced lie, man. Do your history. Just go back and do your history. I did. I went on fucking Wikipedia. And I wanted to research the Monday Night Wars 2.0 back in 2010 with TNA versus Raw. Okay, Tony, and all your stupid ass fans, let me tell you what TNA did. They had real stars. They had dudes still somewhat in their prime still. They had guys that were over. They had future Hall of Famers on their roster that Vince McMahon eventually signed later down the line. Bruh, AEW is the most overrated promotion in professional wrestling history. And here's why. TNA is better than you. And guess what? You got a bigger budget. You are in bigger arenas than TNA. Let that sink in for a second. So you're on a bigger network. My God, let me say that again. You're on a bigger network. You're in bigger arenas. How about you compare yourself, Tony Khan, to Eric Bischoff? Compare yourself to TNA back in 2010, man. The TNA that Hogan, Dixie Carter, and Bischoff ran. Let me educate you on, once they moved to Monday nights, let me educate you on the viewership they was averaging compared to Raw. So, Raw was averaging 5 million viewers per Monday. They was around 5 million viewers per Monday. Fucking TNA, they was averaging between 1.1, 1.4, 2.1, and sometimes they topped out to 3 million. Tony Khan, you will never do those numbers ever in your life. I don't care if you sign John Cena. I don't care if you sign The Rock. You ain't getting those numbers. Okay? You ain't topping out to no fucking 3 million. Not even 2 million. You ain't getting those numbers, man. What are we doing here? Stop making this fake ass war. You don't compare to TNA. The 2010 TNA. You don't compare. It's laughable. What are you doing? It's like you said AEW is the realest competition to the WWE since 2001. You forgot about TNA? You don't compare to TNA. Look back at that 2010 TNA roster, Tony Khan. Your roster could compare to that roster? AEW is basically OVW trying to compete with the WWE roster. Okay? Your roster is FCW compared to the 2010 TNA roster. You are developmental compared to fucking TNA back in 2010. That roster was loaded. They had Mr. Anderson, Jeff Hardy, RVD. Hell, fucking the Gangsters made a cameo. They had stars on their roster, legends, who can still go at that time. Kurt Angle, nigga, you don't have any Kurt Angles on your roster. You don't have any Jeff Hardys. You don't have any RVDs. What are we doing here? I just named 3 multiple-time WWE champions that TNA had, who are future Hall of Famers. It's like it's just disrespectful at this point. You keep on disrespecting the history of wrestling since '01. Like dog. TNA never really considered the WWE competition. They just stayed in their own lane. I don't get it. It's like, bro, you are barely getting TNA numbers from 2010. In fact, you ain't getting those numbers because Rampage is trash. Rampage is getting lower numbers than NXT 2.0. The same NXT 2.0 that your fanboy says sucks. Which means, I guess, Rampage sucks, right? That's all I'm saying. But I had to go back and do my homework. TNA was averaging 1.1, 1.5 to 2 million. Sometimes 3 million. Tony Khan, you will never reach that. You are not the second. You are not the second. You are not the second biggest threat to the WWE since '01. Stop living in a fucking fantasy world, bruh. You are living in a fantasy world. You are getting too cocky. You are getting too arrogant. Stop disrespecting TNA. Because your roster is trash compared to fucking TNA. It's garbage. I don't see any fucking AJ Styles on your roster. I don't see any Bobby Roodes. Where are they? All I see is some out of shape guys who should be on the fucking indies. But guess what? All your EVPs keep on signing all these no-name guys for the indies that won't draw you a dime. But you keep on saying you want to sign the best talent. Well, your ass keep on signing all of Vince McMahon's old scraps that he don't want. So how are you signing the best talent? It's like, brother, stay in your lane, man. TNA was pushing out bangers. Like, bruh, TNA was doing fucking ladder matches with Kurt Angle versus Mr. Anderson, Jeff Hardy versus fucking RVD in fucking main events. You kidding me? Come on, man. It's not even close, man. It's like, look, Tony Khan, put your money where your mouth is, right? TNA had the balls to move to Monday night. Around that time where Raw was getting 5 million viewers per Monday. Still. Stop talking shit. Move your ass to Mondays. Why not? But, bruh, TNT, they can move you to Mondays. They have nothing on that's special on fucking Mondays. Put your money where your mouth is. Go to Mondays. If not, shut the fuck up. Raw is going against Monday Night Football. And guess what? They have the same key demographics, so that's a hard battle to fucking win. How about you go to Mondays? Get embarrassed. Because if Raw is getting 1.6, 1.7 in spite of Monday Night Football, just imagine if you move to Mondays, bro. Because, dude, you are on Wednesdays unopposed, right? And you only getting 1 million. And if your ass keep booking boring ass matches, your ass gonna dip right back down to 900K. And you are unopposed. You are unopposed on Wednesdays, dude. So, and still, not a lot of people are watching your fucking show. So just imagine if you move to Mondays, that means you will have to compete with football and Raw. Nigga. Dynamite would get maybe 400K. If they are lucky. Maybe 500K or 400K if they are lucky. If that. I'm being generous. Dynamite would get maybe 600K tops. Or 500K. So let that sink in. Keep your mouth shut, man. And now you are trying to call out the WWE because their next show will be on FSN, which is a lower viewed network. So now you big and bold, huh? You big and bold now, huh? You think you could beat them now because you think they are going to get lower rated because they are on a different channel that doesn't get a lot of viewers. Nigga, you are a pussy. Like, you're basically, it's the equivalent of, oh, now you got one hand tied behind your back now, so now I can beat you in a fucking boxing match now. That's what you are doing. By them moving to FS1, the WWE, most likely their viewership, it might be cut in half. That's the equivalent of them having one hand tied behind their back. And now you think you can beat their ass now because they got one hand tied behind their back. You are pathetic. You are pathetic, man. This drives away fans from your product. You know that, right? You are petty. The last 2 weeks, Rampage has averaged 400K plus to 500K plus. SmackDown gets 2 million. Who are you competing with? Are you... Good Lord, man. He hangs out with Dave Meltzer too much or something. Bruh, stop getting your dick sucked by the Observer. Because your little buddy Dave Meltzer, he is setting you up for fucking failure. You are not on TNA's level back in 2010. You are not competition. Do not disrespect TNA back in 2010 when they had the balls to move to Monday. They was averaging some good fucking numbers. 2 million, 3 million. Are you kidding me? And back then, the WWE's roster was pretty fucking deep. You had Cena. You had CM Punk in his prime. You had fucking Undertaker was still wrestling. You had Prime Kane. You had Cena. You had The Miz who was in his prime. You had Randy Orton who was in his fucking prime. That roster had some players. And yet TNA will still give you honest numbers for their ratings. You would never reach that. Stop being disrespectful. It's like you don't even recognize TNA. You ain't better than TNA. You never will be. You on TNT. Let this sink in. TNT is a more viewed network than fucking Spike TV. And yeah, TNA was still getting 2 million, 1.5, 1.4, sometimes 3 million. You on TNT, a network that shows the NBA. And you ain't reaching TNA numbers back in 2010. Just face it, man. Focus on your own show. That's all. Just focus on your own show. You're just embarrassing yourself. That's why Vince McMahon would never recognize you. He would never acknowledge you. In fact, I think Tony Khan needs to buy one of those rain shirts saying "Acknowledge me," because you're pathetic. He will never acknowledge you. Vince McMahon, TNA might be the closest promotion since WCW that Vince McMahon actually acknowledged on TV. He will never acknowledge AEW as anything. Let this sink in. If Vince gave 2 fucks about AEW, then why did Chris Jericho do Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast on the WWE Network? And Chris Jericho was talking about AEW on that podcast. Nigga, Stone Cold sent Vince a text saying, "Hey, I want Jericho on the podcast. What do you think?" He said, "Cool, do it." That shocked Stone Cold to the point where he had to send him a text once again. He said, "Vince, Vince, are you sure?" He said, "Yeah, do it. Cool." Shit. That's how much he cares about your promotion, Tony Khan. He invited your biggest star onto his network because he don't give a shit. He would have never done that with TNA. He would have never done that with WCW. You are just a new company, man. Just cool out, chill out. You ain't shit. Just focus on yourself and things will get better. Don't set up AEW for failure because you are a joke compared to TNA. You don't compare to TNA. But yo, man, I'm done.